song. Listen, this podcast, whoa, reverb. Okay. This podcast is going to be a little bit different. Um, I was faced with the situation the other day, and I promised myself that I was going to do whatever I could to help with the situation. Um, what's going on is that volunteer fire departments are having to work harder and harder and harder to get funds to do their job, to kick in the doors and put the wet stuff on the hot stuff when your favorite house is going up in flames, and they're there for you, not for themselves. They're there for you. um, a little bit of trivia. I don't even consider this one useless trivia. This is actually good to know. About 25 years ago, when I started doing firefighting, volunteer firefighting, uh, there was probably, I'm guessing, close to 3.3 million volunteer firefighters in a quad state area. Now there's less than 375,000. The numbers are dwindling fast. Houses are going up. There's more houses going up. The ratio of firefighters to new construction is ridiculously low. Uh, the your city taxes only go so far with the volunteer fire departments. Maybe they got a real bright, shiny woo woo going down the street, but that doesn't mean their spirits are up. They see their numbers are dwindling. Insurance companies are demanding more training all the time. And we do this on our personal time. We don't get paid for this. We don't get brownies. We don't get anything. We do this on our own personal time. That includes training that sometimes the fees come out of our own pocket. Um, I mean, don't get me wrong. A lot of the time, most of the time, the fire department will pay for the training, but not all the time. I paid for my own EMT training. I know a lot of guys that did. Now, don't get me wrong. Some of them were because they didn't take the time to ask if the fire department would pay for it. But um, I had to pay for my own. My fire department didn't have the funds at the time. So keep all this stuff in mind. Then on top of it, um, these guys, they need equipment. They need new bunker gear. I was at the last company meeting, and um, there was a fight that broke out between the trustees and the line officers. If you don't know the difference, the trustees are kind of like the financial consciousness of the department, and for a volunteer fire department. And then the line officers are the ones that tell the guys to go running into the fire when everyone else is running out. The trustees didn't want to open up the pocketbook to buy new bunker equipment. That's the firefighting gear they wear to work the fires. Now, I mean, this is what keeps you alive in a fire. This is what makes it so that I can stay in that fire longer to pull granny out or your puppy out or whatever. The older firefighting gear and firefighting gear that's worn, torn, etc., is going to let the heat in a lot quicker, which means I can't stay, or my fellow firefighters can't stay in the fire as long, which means we can't search for people as long. We have RIT teams, we have everything. We do the very best we can, and we usually push ourselves further than we should. We're very good at what we do, but we're only as good as the equipment on our backs. Some of the guys probably risk too much for strangers, but they need help. I mean, they need appreciation. If every once in a while, if you just pick up a deli tray and take it to the fire department and drop it off, if you see some cars there, something, a pat on the back, anything. The firefighters at the station, we see the numbers dwindling. We see the fact that before long, a lot of stations aren't even going to be able to pull out when the alarm goes off. This is just due to loss of manpower. We're getting older. We're all getting older. The young guys there, a lot of them are good. A lot of them want to do what they can, but if they don't have the training, they can't go out on a piece. They can't get on a truck and go without senior officers or senior firefighters on board. So a lot of times the trucks sit in the station, you got a bunch of new guys chomping at the bit trying to get out of the station. They want to go, like I said, knock down the fire, and they can't do anything because they don't have seniors there. We got to work. Most of us have to work to make a living. We're not getting paid to fight fire, so we can't always leave work. Which brings me to my second point. There was a time where in the communities, at the very least, if there was a fire and our pagers went off or our phones went off or the house sirens would go off, that was way back in the day, the employers would let us go fight the fire because they know it's in the same community that we're working. They want the firefighters to be able to get out because if their business caught on fire, they'd want the firefighters to be able to put the fire out. Or a lot of the time, they live in the same communities we work in. They want the firefighters to be able to go put their house fire out. So we were allowed to go. Some of the employers even paid us. They kept us on the clock, up until the end of our shift. Now, they wouldn't pay us overtime to go fight a fire, but they paid us up until the end of our shift to go fight the fire. Now, we get penalized if we're late coming to work because we were out fighting a fire, cutting somebody out of a burning car, saving somebody from drowning, whatever. We get penalized for doing that. We actually get penalized for saving lives. We're getting sued for doing CPR on people and cracking ribs. It's absolutely ridiculous. So where I'm coming from today, or tonight, or I don't even know what the hell it is. Whatever you do going forward with firefighters, show them some love. Buy them a cup of coffee. If they're behind you in Turkey Hill and they have a cup of coffee in their hand, and you can see they just look dick in the dirt, tired. They got their ass beat at a fire. They stink of a fire. They're sweaty, and they got a bottle of water in their hand. Pay for their damn bottle of water. Show them some love. Next time it could be your house. Maybe they're too thirsty to fight the fire. You know what I mean? Show them some love. I'm getting too old for this game. I'm going to be getting out of it very soon. Excuse me. Sometimes it's hard just to get up into the truck. So that being said, I don't know that there's going to be anybody coming up behind me to fill my spot. So that might be one less person to go. I am actually a chauffeur. I drive the trucks. I run the pumps. If I leave, that's two positions that are going to be open, and I can't guarantee you there's anyone there to fill them. That's one less person to get that truck out, to get to the fire, to, again, put the wet stuff on the hot stuff, cut you out of that car accident or whatever happened. You need to show these guys some love, and maybe we'll do it a little bit longer. Maybe we'll be able to make that one extra call that might save your life, someone you love's life, maybe your pet, maybe your neighbor. You just don't know. And the fact that you're too self-centered and too greedy or too busy watching the Stranger Things finale to give firefighters some love could be the difference between saving a life. I'm just saying, show the firefighter some love. You do what you want with the police. Yeah, they can work on their own podcast. I'm asking you to please show the firefighters, especially the volunteer firefighters, some love. We are a dying breed. We are going away at a geometric rate. You have no idea how close that last call when you saw that truck screaming down the road, flashing lights, horns blaring, how close it was to that truck not going out. And I'm talking for all fire departments. This is everywhere. So do something nice, or, get off your lazy ass and go join a fire department, help out. If you're too not that made up kind of a person to go in and fight a fire, excuse me, then go support. You can help clean the trucks, stock the trucks, order equipment, fix equipment. Maybe you're a mechanic. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe you're a cook. Maybe you can make meals for when there's training. Volunteer. That's what we're doing. We're volunteering, and we're playing with the shit that hurts. You can go in there and be safe and still help. So just give it a thought, see what you think, give firefighters some love. Thank you.